Okay, thank you guys so much for jumping on today. I've got a presentation set together for you today. It's called the 5 Critical Daily Tasks for Building Your Side Business. And I really hope that this information suits you well. I always try to keep presentations to around 30 minutes. And so we're going to get right into the meat and potatoes of what we have available for today. So what are the 5 critical daily tasks to building a side business? This is what I believe in my opinion, not only for just a side business, but also for any type of business. If you consider yourself or you aspire to be a business owner, then these are 5 extremely critical items that you need to have in place in order to move your business forward, in order to project your business forward and to make some really great progress with your company. So the first one is planning. Number 2 is education. Number 3, networking. 4, marketing. And then number 5 is following up. And so we're going to go through each of these items together. So your number 1 critical daily task is planning. All right, so it's there's 4 components of planning. Number 1 is creating your calendar. The second is determine your goals. 3 is create action items. And then 4th, prioritize. So this is probably the longest one that we have. And we're going to talk about each one of these items a little bit in more detail because this is the meat and potatoes. This is where most people fail in honestly trying to reach any type of goal. It always goes back to the planning. And so that's where we're going to talk about and how to create the right things so that you are able to achieve what you're wanting to achieve. So the first component of planning is creating your calendar. And this is critical. First, so if you imagine, and I'd love for you to do this, if you don't do it right now, of course, you can pause the recording if you like, or you could do this at a later date. But what you want to do is you want to open up your calendar. You want to open up your calendar, your average week, Monday through Sunday, and fill in the non-negotiable tasks that you have, that you have to do. And preferably, this is a calendar that has times on it, right? So from the time you wake up in the morning all the way to when you go to bed in the evening, what does your day look like? And I want you to fill in each of these tasks. So the first things that you do is you fill in your non-negotiable tasks, the things that you have to do, right? You got to take a shower, hopefully. You got to, go to work, possibly. All the things that you drive time, if you're driving to and from locations, if you're a part of some type of ministry and you volunteer time, so non-negotiable items that you have to do on a daily basis, you're going to fill in those items. The second thing that you do on your calendar is you fill in the items that you should do, the things that you should do. And for you, this might be something like working out, or it might be organize, your closet, or, housework, things that you should do. It's not absolutely mandatory like maybe your job is, but you really should do these things and you fill those in next. Thirdly, you fill in your nice to-do tasks. Those are things that it would be really nice if you were able to. So maybe that's coffee with a friend, maybe that's going to the movies, maybe it is, in the evening. I don't know about you, but I like to wind down with about 1 hour of television at night before I go to bed, just kind of shut my brain off from, thinking about anything too intense. So then you fill in your nice to do items. Maybe this is surfing social media or reading magazines or laying out by the pool, things that you like to do. And I want you to fill those items in pencil. All right. And then 4th, you're going to fill in stuff, or at least identify on your list. So maybe you already have these things fill in, things that you can eliminate or postpone, things that aren't necessarily going to make or break you, whether you do them or not. This is really, really important to creating your calendar, because a lot of times I know, if especially if you're starting a business, you are busy, right? You're busy. And if you're starting a business, more than likely, that means that you already have something going on a regular basis. You already have to work at your income while you're building this on the side. So because you're doing this on the side, we have to be really diligent about finding stuff that we can eliminate or postpone. And the fifth thing is, I want you to fill in the time that you're going to work on your business. This is the critical step in anything. If you want to lose weight, if you want to get out of debt, if you want to do anything, your number one focus and priority, the reason that people don't follow through with the things that they want to obtain, is because of lack of planning. It's not because of lack of anything else, but just simply lack of planning and the ability to manage your calendar. So you have that out of the way now. You've determined exactly when you're going to be working on your business. You have that in your calendar. The next thing you have to do is figure out your goals, because it's not just about knowing when you're going to work your business, but you need to know what are going to be the most effective things for you to do in order to move your business in a positive direction. So in order to figure that out, you first must figure out, what do you want? What do you want to achieve? What are your goals for your business? What are your goals for your life? So on a weekly basis, I highly encourage you to create a list of goals that you want to achieve within the next 12 months. On a weekly basis. I do this every Monday morning. Then I'd like for you to create a list of 90-day goals. Now, if you follow Brian Tracy, then you probably are no stranger to this idea of writing out your 12-month goals every single week. But creating a list of 90-day goals really helps, I have found, really helps for me to achieve the 12-month things. Because when, it's one thing to think, okay, in the next 12 months, I want to achieve X, Y, Z. But in order to achieve those goals in the next 12 months, then a lot of times what you have to do is go for bite-sized pieces of each of those goals. So if for instance, you want to lose 50 pounds in the next 12 months, then you need to set a 90-day goal of what? Okay. So thinking about the things that you'd want to achieve in 12 months, what are the 90-day goals that you should be focusing on in order to move you in the direction of achieving those 12-month goals? So, this is kind of like a two-part exercise, looking at the big picture, but then of course, breaking it down. Okay, how can I in the next 90 days move a little bit closer to each one of those things? And it doesn't have to be verbatim, but from one list to the next list, but giving yourself a general scope, just an overview of what you can be working toward. And that's really important. So from that list of 90 days, right, your 90-day list, then what you're going to do is you're going to select a focus goal based on your 90-day and your 12-month goal. And what that looks like is something like, and it might not even be something that's on your list, right? This might be a goal that, looking at your list, you see, oh, okay, well, if I want to lose 50 pounds in the next year, but in the next 90 days, I want to, lose 20 pounds, right? In the next 90 days, then based on that, what is going to be your focus goal? Maybe your focus goal is going to be that you're going to track diligently everything that you put into your body, anything that you eat or drink, right? That might be your focus goal. If that is your number one priority, or if your number one priority is, in fact, building your business, and one of your 90-day goals is to, for instance, bring in 10 distributors into your company, then your focus goal has got to be put the business in front of X number of people in order to bring in those 10 prospects. Does that make sense? So you're starting large scope, the 12 months. Then we're going to break it down, go into the 90 days. And then from there, you look at those goals and you say, what is the most important thing that I need to focus on right now, every day? What do I need to focus on? What do I need to just brainwash myself into thinking about each and every day? What is that one thing? And that is going to be your focus goal. From there, okay, so this is all part of planning. And honestly, it sounds like a lot, but this would take you 10 to 30 minutes, probably each week, okay? From there, you're going to create your list of action items, right? From your focus goal, the goal that you determined is the one that you're going to focus on. You're going to create a list of action items, and all this is a massive brainstorm of mini tasks, right? So this might be meet so-and-so for coffee. This might be plan out my workouts every single Monday. This might be, whatever it may be, get a new computer because your computer is slowing you down, right? Just a massive brainstorm of all the mini tasks that are going to move you toward accomplishing your focus goal, right? Because there's no use in setting goals if you don't have a direction, and if you don't have any idea of how to break it down into bite-sized pieces to where you can actually start accomplishing these goals, right? So you create that list of action items. Then the last thing you do, the last part of planning, is prioritize. Okay? And this is something that you should really be doing daily, right? So if number one daily critical task is planning, then you've got to be putting these things into action. Your goals list, that's weekly. Your 90-day goals, that's weekly. Your focus goal, of course, and making this brainstorm, that's weekly. But looking at your list and reprioritizing it each and every day, going through your brainstorm, that is something that literally you can do each and every day, right? So here's what we recommend. We recommend go through your massive brainstorm and then order the list. So you're going to put number one, number two, number three, number four, put it in an order that makes sense. Because a lot of times, for instance, if one of the things on your list is to buy a new computer, well, it doesn't make sense to go buy a new computer until you research the type of computer that is going to be best suited for you. So that's an item that could be on your massive brainstorm, and that would be first above, of course, buying a new computer, right? And then what you do is you take 2 items every single week from your list, or 2 items from your list, and move them onto your task list, things that you must accomplish. 2 things from your focus goal massive brainstorm that need to be moved into your weekly to-dos or even your daily to-dos. If you could accomplish 1 thing a day from your massive focus goal brainstorm, then you will definitely be moving your business in the right direction. All right, number 2 critical daily task is education. All right, personal development, business development. What you think about comes about. All right, so let's talk about that for a second. Personal development and business development. Personal development, what is that? That is anything that's positive, motivational, inspirational, things that are going to help you think positively, things that are going to help you better yourself in your relationships, in your communication skills, in potentially your marketing, things that are going to better you. Personal development, okay? Business development relates to anything that's specific to your industry. What do you need to be focusing on for your specific industry, for your specific business? Do you need to do a little bit more research on closing a sale? Do you need to do better research on listening to your prospects? Do you need to figure out how to do surveys and hear from the people that you're trying to put your business in front of? What do you need to do? What do you need to figure out? And that goes under business development. And like I said on that last point there, what you think about comes about. So the things that you think of most often, the things that occupy your brain, are the things that will happen, right? So if you're constantly putting positive things into your life, then positive things will start to happen. If you've ever heard of The Secret, the movie or the book, The Secret, I love it. One of the things that it does miss a little bit of, it's not just about thinking, positively. You do have to have that action stuff in there, right? That planning stuff that we talked about a minute ago. But it is so true that when you start thinking about one particular thing, then all of a sudden, things just start moving in that direction. And your life will continue to move in the direction of your thoughts. So here's like my general rule of thumb as far as education goes. I always recommend reading 10 pages a day of something that is motivational and inspirational. I recommend listening to 15 minutes a day of something that is motivational and inspirational. And this also, of course, might be your business development as well, or even, sometimes what I do is I start my day off reading my Bible first, my first 15 minutes, and then I move into my business and personal development reading immediately after that. It's how I start my day every morning because I think it's really important to start your day off right and with that positive influence, right? So that's how I do it. Other people prefer to do this in the evening. Listening to motivation, I do that every day when I walk my dog. I listen to something positive, podcasts, recorded conference calls, things that I know are really going to fill me up and teach me either how to work the industry that I'm in better, more productively, or just really helping me as a person to become a better person, a person of more integrity. Because here's the deal, guys, your business will never grow larger than you grow yourself, right? So you need a constant positive influence. I'm going to say that again. Your business will never grow larger than you grow yourself. So if you're not willing to become better in every area that you possibly can work on, then you cannot expect your business to soar in those areas either. You can't expect things to grow beyond you. Okay? So always remember that if you want to have a successful business, we got to start filling ourselves up with the tools that will teach us how to be successful. And then my last point here is just to really focus on limiting books, television, social media, or relationships that don't help you. Okay? So think about the things that you can limit: books, television, social media, relationships that don't help you. If something is constantly toxic and bringing you down, or if it's putting you into a mindset, like for instance, today somebody asked me if I saw something on the news, and I was like, I don't watch the news, because you know what? If something's really important going on in the world, someone's going to tell me, to be honest with you. And the news is just really, really disturbing, and it brings me down. So I don't watch the news. All right. So that's just one thing that I do. I even try to limit, certain types of shows that I like to watch. Even though I love them, I know that it has mildly a negative effect on my personality. And so I don't want any drama in my life, because if I'm trying to be more successful, you got to keep things moving in that direction. All right, so critical task number 3 is networking. So every business needs customers. Okay, guys, every business needs customers. Every business is built upon relationships, and people buy from people that they know, like, and trust, right? And if you're working with a business or a nonprofit, then they first need to know, like, and trust you. So you got to focus on building your relationships, and then lastly on that list there is we got to focus on finding a need and filling it. Focus on finding a need and filling it. So, even though this might be something that's uncomfortable for you, you need to know that every business is built on customers. So if you want to have a good, solid, strong business, then you are serving someone somewhere, right? And the first big step into building loyal customers is to strengthen relationships with them. And then finally, of course, you do that by finding their needs and filling it. So the last critical task is marketing. I'm sorry, number 4 is marketing. So here's the deal. People need to know what you have to offer. And if you don't get the word out there, then they're never going to know. They're never going to know what you have to offer, right? It's like a business, a company that does not open their doors, right? Or a coffee place that doesn't even advertise that they sell coffee. You've got to put what you have to offer in front of the people, in front of the market that is looking for it. And you just never know when someone is in the market for what you have to offer them. So there's a couple ways to market. Of course, we have email marketing, social media marketing, face-to-face, text, whatever the method that you use. This is something you've got to do each and every day, is make sure that you're marketing. Make sure that you're putting your information in front of people. You have to do that, okay? And then finally, Number 5 task is follow-ups, right? So people typically need, and I know I'm going fast, you guys. I hope that you could take notes as we go, but just I just want to get through the material, of course. It's really important for you to know, especially as a new or small business owner, that people need typically 8 to 10 exposures to a product or service before they're willing to take a step forward, or even before they recognize the name of the product, the service, the brand. Usually people need 8 to 10 exposures before they're willing to jump. Okay. And especially with today, with Facebook going so quickly, and a lot of different social medias just happen so quickly these days. Those stats are actually rising. It used to be 8, but now the stats are 10, maybe even 12 if you're marketing on social media. So we're just becoming more skeptics. We're scanning a lot more. So a lot of times, this I don't want you to get discouraged if the exposures go up and up and up. And if you feel like, well, I've already contacted that person 5 times, am I really just beating a dead horse? And, the answer is no, because as long as you keep their best interest at your heart, then that's the most important thing, right? Always remember what I said on the previous slide, just to be looking for needs and see if you can fill that need. I know you've probably heard this before in business development, but don't go out looking to start a business. Go out looking to solve a problem for someone, and there your business will be born, right? So that's exactly what we do. So just remember that everyone's busy, and this is your business. It's your responsibility, not theirs, okay? So just assume that people are busy. Remember that it's your business, and remember that it's your responsibility to follow up with them. It is not theirs. If you go, here, I'll just give you a quick example. If you go to a store, or not a store, but a restaurant, and you get a cup of coffee, do you expect for the person that's serving you to offer you a refill, or do you think it's the customer's responsibility to ask for that refill? Think about that, because it's the same with your business, right? In the business, the waitress is the business owner, right? The customer, the person being waited on, is the customer or your potential customer. You go and you pour them a cup of coffee. It is not their responsibility to ask you for another cup. It's your responsibility to see if they want more. And just the same thing holds true for your business. It's your responsibility to see if they want more information. It's your responsibility to follow up. So let's talk about following up and how to do that effectively. This is probably the number one pitfall that people fall into when they are building a business, is they just assume that people aren't interested because you threw it out there once and no one bit, right? That's just not the case. That's not the case for most contacts, right? So here's some information. The first thing that you need to know about following up is you got to have one list of contacts. When you're first starting out, you might use this as your phone contacts. You might use this as an email contacts. When you're first starting out, you can think small like that. But as your business starts to grow, you might need to take on a database or something where you can keep better notes, okay? But when you're first starting out in your business, I want you to know that the most important thing is that you keep a list of contacts. One list of contacts, not in multiple places, one list. And you keep notes on the people of your contacts as well as your communications with them. So maybe you have their kids' ages, maybe you have what they do for a living, maybe you have in your notes, just conversations that you've had, as well as your communications with them. So you'll know when you're starting to reach the 8, 9, 10 follow-up mark with each person. And I guarantee you that most people don't even get a second follow-up. And that is so sad, especially in network marketing, the business that we're in. In network marketing, most people don't even get a second follow-up. It's because it's almost scary when people don't go, oh my gosh, you're a distributor. I want to sign up with you right now. And you get discouraged if people don't just jump and just, just run to your front door and say, please, please, please help me. But you can't be discouraged about things like that, because remember, we're business owners, right? So we've got to do these critical daily tasks. And so if you're keeping your list of contacts, if you have your notes on them, if you keep your communications records about them, then you are going to do far better than 99% of the people that are starting in their businesses. I promise you that. And usually this takes years for people to learn. I want you to learn this right off the bat. I don't want you to take years to learn this. Always remember, be helpful first, right? So I said before, you got to remember to be helpful first. That is the most critical part. Focus on them. Focus on the people that you're talking to. How can you help them? And I believe it's Jim Rohn that said that your income will grow proportionately to the number of people that you help, the number of people that you serve. So if your focus is there, if your focus is not on the money, it's not on the bottom line, it's not on the numbers, if your focus is on finding needs and filling it, then you're not going to come across as salesy or desperate, and your business will take off much faster. And I promise you that. So I just want to recap. All right. What are the 5 critical daily tasks? What are they? So the first one we talked about was planning. And that's where we had the 4 components of planning, where you created your calendar, figure out what goals you have. Then from your goals list, you created an action item list. And then finally, we prioritized that list. Because you know what, guys? It's not just, it's so important for you, first and foremost, to set aside the time to work on your business. But then secondly, to know what to do when you're working on your business. And I cannot talk about this enough. You got to first plan the time to work on your business, but then know what to do when you're working on your business. And I liken it to, working out, because I've been in the fitness industry since, for 15 years. And it's not just about writing in your calendar that you're going to exercise. What are you going to do? Are you going to walk? Are you going to go to the gym? Are you going to do crunches in your living room? Because if you leave it up to chance, if you don't plan it, and then you don't have planned out what you're going to do, then you're going to be spinning your wheels. Maybe you'll walk into the gym without a plan, and you'll just kind of walk around and test out maybe like 3 pieces of equipment, didn't really feel anything, and then leave early because you feel weird. So you got to have a plan. Got to first plan to do it, and then you have to have a plan in order to follow through with it, right? So the second thing is education, which we talked about, personal development and business development. And this is where you work on your you skills. Okay, you work on becoming a better you. You work on increasing your dream capacity. I like to say the ability for you to believe in amazing and awesome things, right? So you work on your positive influence, your education. This is your reading. This is your listening to audiobooks. This is the things that are going to increase your life. The things that you think on, you'll become. Number 3 is networking. And, I didn't mention this earlier, but this is really critical. When you're starting a new business, particularly when you're networking, that's not just networking with people, but that is literally like taking the person's name, the business name, maybe it's an organization name, putting it on your contact list, right? So this is networking, is constantly adding people to your contact list, people that maybe potentially could help you business-wise, maybe mentors, but also people who could potentially be customers of yours. And if you're not speaking to people, and if you're not networking and getting a pulse on who's out there and who needs what, then you have no way to add people to your list. You have no way to expand, right? And to be very honest, a business without customers is not a business. It's a hobby. All right. So marketing, which of course that goes right into marketing. How are you going to market? Are you going to do this? You have to determine the methods and the modes of how you're going to market, what you have to offer people, right? Are you going to go door to door? Are you going to go face to face? Are you going to use Facebook marketing? Are you going to use ads? Right? You have to determine how are you going to market. And this is something, of course, in many small businesses, especially like network marketing, face to face, on the telephone, that's the most powerful way that you can do this. And of course, face to face doesn't mean that you have to be in the same vicinity or even driving distance from someone. nowadays we have such great technology. We can use Skype or FaceTime in order to see people when we're communicating with them. And that is so much more powerful than simply reading a post from somebody or just, over the phone with them. I mean, those are great. But when you're able to see someone and connect with them and look in their eyes, that is so much more powerful than reading a post on Facebook or something like that. So keep that in mind. Those are the things that help people to know, like, and trust you. All right. So the fourth component, of course, is marketing. The number 5 is follow up, because let's face it, it's not their responsibility. It's not your potential customer's responsibility to follow up with you. It's your responsibility to follow up with them. Like I said, if you walk into a shoe store and nobody greets you, are you going to want to do business there? The shoe salesman isn't sitting there afraid to speak with you because they don't want to be quote unquote pushy, right? I was listening to a podcast by I believe, it was Diane Hockman, I believe, and she says, you go into a store and you don't get offended by all the products that are around you to buy, right? You don't get offended that there are things on the shelf to buy, but you're only going to look at the things that you're interested in anyhow. So it's not a big deal, if you choose to follow up with somebody, if you choose to put this in front of people, more than likely they're not going to get offended, right? We have to get over ourselves and think in the terms of, we're business owners. In order for us to have successful businesses, we need to find people that have a need that we can solve and fill that need for them. All right. And then just follow up with them and say, you know what? I know that you mentioned you really wanted to lose weight, or I know that you mentioned that you really wanted to get out of debt this year. And here, look, I have something that I'd love to share with you because I think it's going to help you. And you know what? That's not weird if you already have a conversation, a communication open with that person. And you're going to do business a lot quicker, trust me, than of course, if you never open your mouth. I had a mentor. His name is Larry Zimberg, and one of the things that he always said was, a closed mouth never gets fed. Okay, so if you never open your mouth, you can't eat, right? And so it's the same thing with your business. If you don't open your mouth and share, then not only are you inhibiting your personal business, but you're also taking away from the person that has that need, that really needs what you have to offer them. You're taking that option away from them. They don't even have the option unless you give it to them. And I tell people this all the time. If you have a cure for cancer, would you keep your mouth shut because you didn't want to offend people, or would you share that? And if you really believe in the products and the services that you have to offer, then you're not going to keep your mouth shut. You're going to put it in front of as many people as you possibly can that it could help. So I want to encourage you tonight, and I want to thank you so much for watching this presentation. My name is Holly Hireman, and like I said, just thank you so much. I value that you took the time to watch this. I hope that it helped you out well, and I hope to serve you better in the future. So have an awesome night.